Does the devil need to get permission from God before he can assault us? Let's talk about it. What's going on, Biblically Constructed fam? I want to thank you guys so far for the support. And I will be doing some live videos in the near future. I want to be able to interact with you guys in real time and chop it up with you guys as the Biblically Constructed family grows. So stay tuned for that. Now, when we look at the devil needing permission to attack us, we automatically go to the story of Job. Most of us know it, but there's a point where God gives authority or permission to Satan to attack Job. Now, some will say, what kind of loving God would do that? And this is a popular saying from atheists and non-believers and folks like that. But we'll push that aside for now. But let's go to Job 38. I want to make this point here. Job 38. It says, Then the Lord answered Job out of the whirlwind and said, Who is this who darkens counsel by words without knowledge? Now prepare yourself like a man, and I will question you, and you shall answer me. Where were you when I laid the foundations of the earth? Tell me, if you have understanding, who determined its measurements? Surely you know. Or who stretched the line upon it? To what were its foundations fastened? Or who laid its cornerstone? So basically, God is saying, I'm God. Now, whether you find that fair or not, that's just the way it is. And we'll get to why you should be okay with that in a few moments. Now, Satan kind of presented a challenge to God that Job would curse him to his face. Let's pick it up in Job 1, 10 through 12. Have you not put a hedge around him and his house and all that he has on every side? You have blessed the works of his hands, and his possessions have increased in the land. But stretch out your hand and touch all that he has, and he will curse you to your face. And the Lord said to Satan, Behold, all that he has is in your hands. Only against him do not stretch out your hand. So Satan went out from the presence of the Lord. So we see that God indeed gave Satan an opportunity to test Job's faith. And we do know that God will test us. Now, one of the first questions is, did Satan try to attack Job previously? Well, we don't know for sure, but as we read, Satan knew that Job had a hedge of protection around him. Well, how would he have known that if he didn't try to attack him previously? We don't know for sure. Then we also see in scripture that Jesus tells Peter that Satan desires or asks to sift you like wheat. So we see here that Satan also inquired about Peter again to test his faith. Now, we know Peter would fail in a moment. In fact, he denied Jesus 3 times, which Jesus knew he would fail, because Jesus goes on to say this in Luke 22:31. Simon, Simon, Satan asked to sift you as wheat, but I have prayed for you, Simon, that your faith may not fail. And when you have turned back, strengthen your brothers. So Jesus prayed for him to recover from his failure, and he did. But does Satan need permission every time he desires to attack us? Well, we do know that God does allow temptation to happen. He doesn't tempt us himself, but he can allow it to take place. James 1, 13 through 14 says, When you are tempted to do wrong, do not say, God is tempting me. God cannot be tempted. He will never tempt anyone. A man is tempted to do wrong when he lets himself be led by what his bad thoughts tell him to do. Then we also see this in 1 Corinthians 10:13. No temptation has overtaken you except what is common to mankind. And God is faithful. He will not let you be tempted beyond what you can bear. But when you are tempted, he will also provide a way out so that you can endure it. We cannot blame God for what Satan does. Or guys, our exposure to satanic attacks started in the fall of the garden. When we look at this special permission Satan needs, well, we don't see it biblically as being a norm for every attack he needs permission. We don't know for sure, but it does seem that there might be some boundaries he cannot cross, that he can only go so far. Now, again, we don't know for sure, but I believe if he had the opportunity or the authority, he would have killed Adam and Eve. His assault on Jesus in the wilderness probably would have been more intense. I'm just speculating. And again, we look at Peter. We do know that God is a loving God and works all things out for the good of those who love him, even when it seems like he has forgotten us or our current situation. Remember, his ways are higher than our ways, as well as his thoughts. And we don't see the full picture of our lives in his plan. So in essence, we just have to roll with it, which in fact is good news, because how many know again that we serve a good father? Job 13:15 says, though he slay me, I will hope in him. The faith of Job is seen in the fact that even if God's plan results in loss or even death, remember what Job lost. Even still, Job continued to trust God. Ultimately, God controls everything. Whether Satan can attack us whenever he feels like it, or if he needs permission every time, does not really matter to the believer in the big picture. We are in good hands with the Lord. That is why we should be okay with God's statement when he asked or when he questioned Job. So whatever comes our way, we ultimately can be okay, because we know we serve a good father. And listen, life is going to bring loss. There's going to be tragedy. There's going to be trials and tribulations. But through that through all of that, through the storms of life, we can have confidence that we're in the loving hands of God, even though in that current situation, it may not seem like it. Ultimately, guys, we know how the story ends. We win. So guys, be bold, be blessed, but most importantly, be biblically constructed.